people. We checked you in as you came in, so you don't need to worry about your voting code or any of that today. Nine people between online and in person. Okay, so let's put that link in the chat again, because I'm guessing we have more than 9 people online. So we're going to put the registration in the registration link in the chat again. Use your registration code. Yeah, Bryce. We have 11 people in the room, but not all of them are members. So I'm guessing everyone, I think everyone in the room who came in got checked in. So we'll just wait online. So while we're waiting real quick to get that done, we'll move ahead and hit some of our intro stuff before we get into anything that needs quorum. So we'll start with our land acknowledgement. So although we are all joining, well, we're not all virtual tonight. Some of us are here in person. So while we're in a hybrid format this evening, we'd like to start this event acknowledging that we're on the traditional lands of the First Peoples of Seattle, the Duwamish people past and present, and honor with gratitude the land itself and the Duwamish tribe. The 43rd has for many years contributed to Real Rent Duwamish to pay real rent to the Duwamish tribe and support them in their recognition as a federally recognized tribe and all of the benefits that come with that recognition. And if you'd like to learn more about whose lands you've occupied or you've occupied in the past, you can go to native-land.ca. Next slide. Okay, our norms, just to set us all up on the same page as normal. Number 1 is to treat each other with dignity and respect. The second is, if you don't know, ask, especially if we get into anything that involves parliamentary procedures. If you're not sure, you can always raise a hand. Stepping up and stepping back. This probably won't matter too much tonight, but just being aware of how much space you take up in the conversation and making space for everyone. Remember that everyone here is a volunteer. None of us get paid, so please treat us kindly. And together, we share the responsibility for staying on time. We've got a pretty loose agenda this evening. So again, our goal is to wrap a little early and create time for people to connect with each other in person for this meeting. Okay. So general meeting operations, to seek the floor for any reason, if you are online, you use the raise hand feature, and Liam will be checking that to make sure that we can catch you. If you're in person, you can just physically raise your hand and that will work out. And we will use that to be our stack of how we'll call on people. Whenever an item on the agenda is being voted on, the general chat will be disabled and we ask for no comments. I don't believe we'll be voting on anything tonight other than the agenda and the meeting minutes. If you are online and you need help with your voting code, please email tally@43rddemocrats.org. If you're in person, you don't need to worry about your voting code. And then the meeting is currently being live streamed on YouTube. Next slide, please. Okay. Robert's Rules. So for those of you who maybe this is your first time, Robert's Rules is a set of parliamentary procedures that we use to help structure our meeting. You don't need to know all the details to participate. If you'd like to contribute, just raise your hand. We'll help you formulate whatever you want to do into the appropriate format. You have a right to participate as a full member in the meeting. And so if you need us to slow down and explain something that's happening, then we will do so. Our goal is for everyone to always understand, and if you're voting, to know what you're voting on and what it means. And if you're a parliamentary rock star, which I know some people in this room are, please use your powers for good and consider the impact of making complicated motions on the meeting. Again, probably not a big issue for our meeting today. And then just a quick, next slide, please, Liam. Ooh. Some of the most common Robert's rules, in case you need them this evening, point of order is used when you think that we aren't following the rules. So just name point of order, we need to do this before we do that. Point of information is used when you need to ask a question that's relevant to the topic that we're discussing. And point of privilege is used when you need adjustments so that you can fully participate. So if people online are having a hard time hearing us, for example, they could call point of privilege, I can't hear the people that are speaking in person. Okay. So before we get into this, I'm going to check if we have quorum yet. Not yet. Okay, people online, we're going to put that link one more time. Use your voting code to register. While we're waiting for quorum to go, we will just start doing some announce-related things. So first off, it is Get out the vote season. How many people here have received their ballots already? If you have not received your ballot, please double check the King County voting, the elections website to make sure that you know where your ballot is. It should be in your hands, if not now, very, very soon. One thing that we are encouraging everyone to do this year is to use boxes. I know we encourage that all the time, but particularly with this year, with some of the changes that have been happening around how the Postal Service is aggregating mail, they have moved from a lot of local spaces to setting up like big hubs among the state, which means that it takes more time to the mail to get from your mailboxes to those distribution centers where they get stamped. So in particular, if you vote in the week before, do not count on mailbox. Even if you put it in your mailbox a week before, do not count on that getting there and getting postmarked in time. Use a Dropbox, especially if it's within a week of when things need to be stamped. Yeah. It's any mailbox. Because those are still going to go to the distribution centers, and that just takes a lot more time now. So if it's within a week, put it in a Dropbox to make sure that it gets received in a timely manner, and you don't, it doesn't get counted as not being in time if you did do it beforehand. We have slate cards. They are in the back of our back of meeting room. They are beautiful. Thanks to our communications chair for designing them. Please take them. If you are here in person, take as many as you would like to take. We have a whole giant box that are here for our members to distribute. You can give them to your friends. You can give them to your enemies. You can give them to your racquetball team. Whoever you are connected with that you think you can poke about voting, please take some of those cards and distribute them to people, because that is why they are there. If you are a PCO and you need to get those slate cards, you can either connect with me or David, and we will coordinate with you to make sure that you get them. You can email me at chair@43rdemocrats.org. If you're someone online and you're like, I want a stack of slate cards to hand out at such and such, give me an email and I will coordinate getting those cards with you. Also, if you're like, I love these slate cards, but I'd also love to have some doors to knock to distribute these slate cards to, we can also help with that. You can email PCO chair David at pco-chair@43rdemocrats.org, and he can get you set up with a walking list in a precinct near you that doesn't have a PCO. So if you're looking for, and we can modify the number of doors based on your interest. If you want to go knock like 30 doors in your neighborhood, give us an email. We will get you some slate cards. We'll get you a list. We'll do everything we can to support you to get out there and knock on those doors, because that is what gives our endorsement power. As you've seen me send in like every Wednesday email, right? Our endorsement means more when it comes with boot on the ground, when it comes with the power of actually engaging with our neighbors and reminding them not only that they need to vote, but helping them understand who we support and why. Also, want to give you all let you know that we mailed out about 3,000 slate cards late last week. We targeted our high renter precincts that don't have a PCO. We have not sent out slate cards for a while, but we know that getting to renters is challenging. And if there's not a PCO there, it's even more challenging. So those are all out. Liam, our tech chair, and David, our PCO chair, are also doing a whole test with it. They are keeping track of similar precincts that are and aren't getting the slate cards. So we're going to look at their voting records and compare and get a sense of like, what is the impact of us sending the slate cards out? So we'll come back in January and share the data on that to see what impact our slate cards had. And that can hopefully help inform us to be more effective in sending our slate cards in the future. Next slide, please. We have 3 upcoming canvassing events that we are co-hosting as the 43rd. So if you are available this weekend or next weekend, we encourage you to show up and help us out. On this Saturday from 10 to 1, we'll be knocking doors for Katie Wilson here in Capitol Hill. On Sunday, the 26th, from 2 to 5, we'll be knocking doors in Wallingford for Dion Foster. And on Saturday, November 1st, from 10 to 1, we'll be knocking doors for Katie Wilson, again, here on Capitol Hill. It's a different part of Capitol Hill. They're both parts of Capitol Hill. We've had a few people who have been showing up to these. The campaigns really appreciate it. It is, getting out the vote time. And so, again, The more people we can have showing up, the more power our endorsements have in the future, because they know, hey, when I go to the 43rd and I get an endorsement, that matters. They send out slate cards. They have people show up to knock doors. That's what helped to build the power of our endorsement. Next slide. Okay. And then I'm going to do my final tip, you all. And this is something everyone can do from the comfort of their home. And it is one of the most effective strategies that we have for helping to get our candidates elected. And that is talking to people in your lives that you have relationships with. They give it a fancy name. It's called relational organizing. But really what it is just the simple proven concept that people talk to their friends and family is more effective than strangers talking to strangers. As much as I do love talking to people at the farmer's market, it is way more effective when I reach out to my friends and I say, hey, everyone, reminders, ballots are out. If you're looking for a good list of candidates, here are the ones that I support. That means a ton, especially when it comes to some of the races that we have that people might not know as much about. Our excellent school board candidates, for example, the school board does not get nearly as much attention as some of the other races that are happening. And so a lot of people are going to look at their ballot and they're going to be like, okay, I've heard of Alexis. Okay, I've heard of Erica. I've heard of Dion. Who are all of these school board candidates? And so reaching out and saying, hey, these are the people that I'm supporting. When it's someone that you trust, that means a lot. In fact, it's been found to be twice as effective as a conversation between strangers, and the effects of these conversations also last longer. So ballots are out right now. This is a great time to do it. Next slide, please. And the reason that it matters so much is because, as you might know, people have pretty low trust in institutions right now. But people have a lot of trust in their social relationships. This is why so many people get their news from social media, because they see it coming from trusted sources or from their friends, and they trust that information more. And we know that social media can have a lot of different impacts. So we might as well leverage those social connections for a good purpose by reaching out to people and leveraging those relationships to get our amazing candidates elected. We can skip over the rest of this. The main thing that you need to know is that this is leveraging those relationships, and that's why it's effective. So my ask for everyone, next slide, please. My ask for you is to think about a message that is going to be authentic to you. And if you've ever done door knocking, you probably did something similar to this, right? There is always a script, and then the candidates will usually say, make the script your own, right? You don't want to just regurgitate talking points to people and just say, oh, I vote for so-and-so because of, and then you look at your sheet and then you read those reasons. Like, that doesn't really resonate. So think about authenticity. Why are you voting for the people that you're voting for? And share that with people. That's what helps people to connect, and that's what's really going to make a difference. And think about the people in your network that you have influence in. You want to aim for people that you think are going to be receptive. If you know that someone is going to vote the opposite of you, no matter what conversation, you do not need to reach out to them. Think about the people who are maybe don't follow the news every day, aren't super into politics. Those are the perfect people to reach out to because they're probably willing to vote. They probably just don't know much of what's going on. And so you're poking them and saying, hey, remember to vote, and here's some good people, can make the difference between them voting and them not voting. So everyone's got a few people in their lives. You can all think about them right now. People who you love, you're connected with, but they just aren't as into politics as you are. And I'll let you know now, if you're at a meeting for the 43rd Dems, you're kind of into politics. Send them a message or give them a phone call or reach out for a coffee date. Figure out what strategy you think is going to be most effective with them, but try to reach out to 5 people. If each of us reaches out to 5 people, that really starts to show, really starts to have an impact. Yeah, Bryce?
Not to detract from the 5-person rule, but going to work and in like a Seattle local channel saying something like, hey, elections are coming up. You should look for your ballot. You should vote. Often we're working with people who have similar ideology, similar priorities within the scope of what we're trying to get elected. And that can be a great pathway forward without explicitly endorsing anyone. Saying just vote has been really useful for me getting the vote out within my company.
Thanks, Bryce. Yeah. So, okay. I think our next slide is the action plan. So the ask is, who are 5 people that you could contact this election season? What do you think would be the most effective way to communicate with them? text, phone call, copy date, challenge them to a game of backgammon, whatever you think is going to work. And then when are you going to reach out? Hopefully in this week. That would be a good time, right? But try to make as the more solid a plan that you can make in your mind right now, the more likely you are to follow through and reach out to those people. Okay, that was my little soapbox moment around relational organizing and reaching out to people in our lives. I'm going to go and check in on our quorum. Okay, for shy. People online, if you've not checked in yet, please use that registration link to get to try to get quorum. Otherwise, we're just going to have to approve the minutes from last month, next month, and we can do that. Okay, I think from here, next slide, we are moving into our secretary report back. So thank you to Frederic, our secretary. He not only takes all of the resolutions that we pass and sends them to all of the people that our resolutions ask them to, but he has been working really hard to make sure that we have a feedback mechanism so that when we hear back from our electeds, when we send them these pieces, these resolutions saying what we support or asking them to do things, that we hear back from them. So this was our report back from Senator Peterson. We passed a Denny Blaine resolution calling on Denny Blaine to be preserved as a safe space for the queer community, who has used it as a new beach and hangout space for many, many decades. And his response was, the state legislature has no role in the decision or the litigation, so we're restricted in our use of official resources on that topic. But I have noted to Mayor Harrell and colleagues on the city council that I support protecting the longtime use of this park as a space to the LGBTQ plus community. So that was our response back from Senator Peterson. Speaking of Senator Peterson, at our November meeting, so in our next meeting, we are going to be inviting all three of our 43rd elected reps to come to give us a preview of what's going to be happening in the legislative session that will be starting in January. So hopefully you can all come join us November and we'll get a little bit of a sneak peek of what's going to be happening in our ledge session. Our other response back, and this one's a little bit longer, I apologize. This is from our Senator Maria Cantwell on the resolution that we passed concerning Gaza. And she said, okay, thank you. I am very concerned about the unacceptably high civilian casualties in the region and the conditions on the ground for nearly 2 million Palestinians caught in the conflict in Gaza who are in need of food, shelter, and medical care and other essentials. The Israeli government needs to do more to protect innocent civilians in Gaza, and this needs to be in the forefront of every conversation with Israeli leaders. Throughout my time as a United States Senator, I have supported negotiations to achieve a lasting peace with two states for Israel and Palestine. Palestinians want and deserve to live in peace and safety and with dignity and justice that has long been denied. And I firmly believe we must continue to work towards a future that ensures peace, security, and justice for both Israelis and Palestinians. Rest assured, I will continue to do everything in my power to make a reality. So, a response from Senator Campbell. And then finally, Frederic asked that I make an encouragement to everyone that as we pass resolutions in the future, that all of you also reach out to our elected officials. We will continue to try to create form letters for you all. That makes sense. I know, for example, when we passed the resolution around the crisis care center on Broadway, we sent out, I believe we got almost 500 letters sent to city and county council people in order to encourage action. And we, that has helped to move all of that work forward. As you might have seen in one of our latest emails, the siting of that location on Broadway it passed the county council on October 7th through a unanimous vote. So that siting and that location is moving forward. There are still some steps to go. It is not that the county council has put their stamp on it and now it's done, but that location is moving forward. As we find additional opportunities to engage in the process, we will continue to inform you all in supporting getting that crisis care center up and running as quickly as possible. Okay, I think that's my last slide. Let's check. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to do one final check for quorum, and if we don't have it yet, then I'm going to start handing it over to our speakers. Okay. So close. People online. There are two of you. There are two of you online that I'm sure have not used that voting registration code. So please do that. Oh, and Derek, did we check you in when Derek checked in? Okay, cool. I was like, don't. If we have any other members in here who have not checked in. Oh, wait, are you all both members? Did you both get checked in? Okay, we're going to check in those. Okay, that puts us at quorum. Yay. Okay, excellent. Okay, now my favorite part. I would entertain a motion to approve tonight's agenda through unanimous consent. Moved by David. Is there a second? Seconded by Bryce. Any opposed? Any opposed? Any opposed? I'm going to check to see if there's an opposition online. Okay, the agenda is approved. I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes for September's meeting, which we're going to post in the chat right now, and that was sent out to all of you in the invitation, as well as posted onto our website through unanimous consent. So moved by David. Is there a second? Bryce seconds again. He's second. Any opposed? Any opposed? Any opposed? Any opposition online? Okay, our minutes are approved. Thank you all so much. I think that's the only thing we need to vote on tonight. So with this, I'm going to start handing our mic over to some of our endorsed candidates. We're going to give them some time to just share with you how things are going in their campaigns, ways that you can support them. Some of them are going to be here in person. Some of them are going to be online. We're going to be a little flexible and bouncing back and forth between them because many of these candidates have multiple things going on. And so they're trying to support coming here and sharing with us without burning themselves out driving back and forth between places. So I'm going to start off by handing it off to Erica, and then we're going to follow Erica with Jen. So everyone welcome up Erica Evans.
Thank you so much, Ryan. Thank you. So my husband and I, since we've been in Seattle, we've always been in the 43rd district. I was at the DOJ. It was a little tricky to be as involved, but we're proud 43rd members, and we were happy to give the quorum needed to pass those minutes. Yay. So my name is Erica Evans, and I'm running for Seattle City Attorney. I have met just about all of you, I believe. So I'm glad you all are here. Thank you. You know, it's through your support that we had a 4-person primary. We had some other great progressive candidates in it as well, but we came out with over 55% of the vote. And we are taking that momentum to the general election now. Yes, we can clap for that. Hell yeah. The biggest things right now is just knocking on doors. We just came from knocking on doors in Eastlake, and we have a session almost every weekend for sure, but some evening ones as well. We have a big one coming up with Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal on November the 1st. So if you're available, please come help talk to your neighbors. As Ryan was saying, that's what really makes a difference in these local elections, is that, you know, human interaction of you telling why you are spending your time to vote and to talk about us as candidates. So I'm just grateful for you all. So much love for the 43rd, and I'm happy to be here. Anything else that I missed, Chris? No? Oh, well, I'm running because I believe that we all deserve to live in a city where we can thrive and be safe. And for us to have that city, it takes leaders with the experience, grit, and heart to serve and to bring that. And that's what I'm bringing. I'm the most experienced, qualified candidate in this race. I've worked in the city attorney's office before. I worked at the Department of Justice most recently. I was a hate crimes and violent crimes prosecutor. And I left shortly after Trump took office because it was clear rollbacks in our basic civil and human rights. And we need a city attorney that not only knows what they're doing, but fights back with urgency and courage. That is what's needed at a time like this. And that is what I'm bringing. And I'm so excited to get this done in these next 2 weeks. So thank you all so much. Thank you. Thank you. I'll leave you guys can hear me, but for people online, I'll leave some flyers because it will have a QR code, but our website is elect Erica Evans, and that's Erica with a K. You can sign up on the events tab. We don't need any more donations. We're completely maxed out, but we'll leave the flyers, and just you can sign up on the website. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Erica. Okay, next I'm going to invite up one of our amazing school board candidates, Jen.
Hi, thanks so much for having us here today. My name is Jen LaValle, and I'm running for school board in District 7, which encompasses South Seattle. The campaign's been going great so far. I really appreciate the endorsement of the 43rd Democrats in this race. I've also now been endorsed by the Progressive Voter Guide as well as the Stranger in the past 2 weeks. School board is one of those races that people just have no idea what to do with, especially when you don't have kids in our schools. So, one of the really important things to do is get the word out. These cards are so crucial to get that information out to the voters in the 43rd. So please, as was discussed before, take some cards, distribute them, do a walk list, distribute them to your coffee shop if you can get them in there, your local brewery if you can do that. Wherever you go regularly, please bring a little bit with you and try to see if you can get them in so that people can see them wherever they are in this area. Continue as noted before. Go ahead and text 5 friends, text 25 friends. Remind them to vote because so many people don't vote in these off elections. It is incredibly crucial that we vote in these because what happens in our city government, what happens for city attorney, what happens for school board really sets our course both in our city, in our state, and then in the future of our country. So it is crucial that we get the vote out in elections like these. On top of that, like mentioned earlier, if you're at work and have a Slack group that's a Seattle focused Slack group, drop it in there. Say, I'm making sure I vote. Who's committing to voting with me? Share what list of candidates you're voting for. Discuss a little bit of why. Make sure that you include races like school board that people forget to talk about or have no idea what to do with. I'm running because my kid's school was affected by what called October shuffles, where they move kids around or they move teachers around without any rhyme or reason to it necessarily. They say that it's because of staffing numbers, but it doesn't necessarily add up. I've done the data analysis to figure it out. The year that it happened, my kid's school was impacted, and 1/6 of teachers were taken away from our school and added to a higher income school. It was to save $3 million. At the end of the budget cycle, they found out that they had an unspent $30 million. So we need to make sure that kids, especially kids at Title I schools, are no longer impacted by poor planning that the district has. So that's why I'm running, to push for better and to push for changes that center kids both within the budgeting process and within our education itself, making sure that we have good curriculum that pushes our students further so that we can have people in our city that are ready for the jobs of tomorrow. I look forward to your votes and hope that you can make sure to get the word out about all of these wonderful candidates. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jen. Okay, we're next gonna hop online. I don't know if we're gonna, do we want to share the, okay. We're gonna give Liam just a second. We're gonna continue hearing from one of our excellent school board candidates. Okay, we're gonna spotlight Kathleen. There we go. We're making it happen. Thank you, Liam.
Okay, great. I'm unmuted. I also feel like I might be a little bit like the Wizard of Oz on the giant screen that I can see from the Zoom video. So I'm running for school board because I believe that we can make positive change in our city. Through my campaign, I have learned about issue after issue and all of the challenges facing our district. But at the same time, they aren't insurmountable. And so I believe we can approach the budget issues and get to a workable place. I don't think it'll just be all fine and dandy. And I think that we can just shift how our district functions to get to the schools that our city deserves. Oh, sorry, I just saw in chat. I'm Kathleen Smith. I'm running in District 2, which is Magnolia, Ballard, and Green Lake, but it is a citywide election for the general election. And so I'm very grateful for the endorsement of the 43rd. And I want to also echo what Erica said, that we need progressive leaders in our city government to make our city safe and make sure it serves everybody. And so I would ask not just for door knocking or support for myself, but for the whole slate of progressive candidates, because if I'm elected to the school board, I want to be working with those candidates in our city government. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Kathleen. Okay, I'm going to check real quick. I don't think Jeremiah is online yet. Okay. And then I know that we have Dion Foster is on her way. She's coming from another event. So we're going to hold off for just a second. I also have Matt is not here yet. He's going to come from Katie's campaign. So like I said, Katie's got a debate. I think that's ending around like 7:30. So I think he's going to be hopping over right after that. So we'll go into those in a second. So at this point, I'm going to hand it over to Gisela, who's going to tell us some information about the two different propositions that are on your ballot that you might not know as much about.
Hi, I'm first gonna talk about Proposition 1, which is the Every Child Ready campaign, and it's the expansion and renewal of the FEP levy. This levy was already passed by voters in 2018, and this expansion is going to, the most important thing is that it's going to expand on childcare supports. So what this levy will help with its expanding high quality early learning and childcare, adding more slots so that kids can have access to both preschool and childcare at an affordable cost, and helping families save more than $6,000 per child each year. And it also is going to enhance academic and health supports at K-12 schools. The past levy built 29 health centers in Seattle schools, and this renewal will help maintain those health centers and also build 5 new ones. Another important part of that is that it's going to offer, or it has been offering mental health supports, and it's also, this renewal will expand on that to access to more kids. And the third part is strengthening the Seattle Promise program, so that a lot of kids graduating from the Seattle high schools can access to college with up to 2 years of free tuition. So that's also very important. And there's also a program that will allow some of those kids to transfer to UW so that they can expand their education to a 4-year education program. If you're interested in supporting this campaign, we're going to have some phone banking sessions next week. So let me know. I can send you up for that. And yeah. So now I'm wearing my other hat for Seattle Proposition 2. I don't know if you're familiar with the Seattle Shield campaign, but this proposition is going to update the B&O tax, the business and occupation tax. And it's very important and one of the most progressive initiatives in the city, because it's going to support small businesses so that 90% of Seattle employers will see their taxes reduced, and more than 75% of small businesses will pay zero B&O tax at all. And so how this works is that all the taxes that these small businesses are going to be saving on are going to be transferred to the biggest corporations and companies in Seattle to make our tax system fairer and prevent a lot of these small businesses from closing, and to keep them here. And lastly, with that is that all the revenue from those taxes is going to help support essential services. It's going to help support the city's general fund, and especially during these times where a lot of funding is being cut for a lot of essential services, this is a way of supporting our city to keep those services reliable. So, yeah.
So a couple of things. You'll see some of the opportunities for those phone banks coming out in your Wednesday weekly canvassing email. So tomorrow you'll see some of those opportunities in there if you'd like to support those. And this is another area where there's not been as much information about these two propositions. And so this is another space where reaching out to your networks and encouraging people, even just helping them understand what these propositions do, can be really important, because often when we read the language of the specific propositions, it can be confusing, right? We'll get all of the excellent detail about everything that the family education levy supports. And the Seattle Shield law can seem very weird when it's like, as soon as people see business and occupation tax, their eyes can just glaze over. So reinforcing that this is actually lowering taxes on small businesses and having larger businesses pay more of their fair share can really help people to understand what it does. Okay, next up, I'm going to hand it over to Matt McIntosh, who's here to help us give us an update on what's going on with Katie Wilson's campaign. Katie was just finishing a debate earlier this evening, so wasn't able to join us. But we're going to Matt will fill us in.
Thanks so much, Ryan. Hey, everybody. Thank you. And so sorry that Katie is able to join us. She just walked off the stage over at First Baptist. And 20 debates into this, I think we're getting the hang of it. No, it went really well. I mean, at this point, really what is most needed to make sure that Katie is our next mayor is door knocking and donating. If those are things that you have the capacity and the ability to do, we need them, as well as all of these other candidates as well. We're really excited to be running with a slate large enough to really shape the direction of the city for a long time to come. And recently we've had these real exciting canvases like the ones that y'all have coming up that are kind of slate oriented, right? And so I think it makes a ton of sense to combine our power and get out the vote in that way. Another thing that I just want to highlight is, as far as donations go, Katie has spent 0 hours on the phone this entire campaign calling wealthy people for money. That's something that we really take pride in as a campaign, and is a reflection of a number of things, right? The work of folks before us to get things like democracy vouchers passed, the generosity of small and medium-sized donors, and the ground game that our field team has built along with allies like yourselves. But it also means that we need extra support here in the final push, right? As you know, Harold's camp is not short on cash because he does make those phone calls. And so we are going to have to be a strong bulwark against the attacks that are going to come against Katie about her, her experience or her radical agenda that's going to make working people able to survive in Seattle. So those are kind of the top level things. Probably any of you have already door knocked and donated. And so thank you if that is you. And do not forget to nudge that slightly less political person in your life, which I'm sure you're already doing, by getting the ballot in ASAP. I'm also happy to respond to any questions or feedback or anything like that as well, if that's helpful. Oh, I didn't even know we were online.
We can take a quick question, and if anyone online has a question, feel free to either raise your hand or throw it in the chat. And if no one has any questions, then seeing none. Okay.
Great.
You did an excellent job.
Well, I'm lead organizer on the campaign. My email is matt@wilsonforseattle.com. So when you walk out of here and you're like, I should have asked that, drop me a line. Yeah. You mean, yeah, so where are the biggest inroads left to tackle? And say more what you mean by that. Yeah, so I think we have, what our strategy is right now, we are shifting firmly into low propensity voters, right? And so those are folks who we think Katie's agenda should really land well with and are going to need maybe less of the elbow grease that we would have needed a month ago when we were in perhaps wealthier neighborhoods and districts. So at this point, we are focused on folks who maybe moved here a year ago, folks who have been here for 20 years but have voted once in the last 20 years. But by and large, these folks, statistically speaking, are renters. They are working 2 jobs to make ends meet. They are struggling to get their child care bill. And so we really need to be targeting those voters. And just speaking, it's nice to have like an authentic candidate who is running those issues, because we don't have to shift our messaging really very much from the core themes of the campaign. So apartment buildings, if you have access to large apartment buildings, you know, anything above, I would say like 50 units or so, and you and your friend, the ability to go knock doors there, that would be a massive help, right? We should be running up the numbers in apartment buildings, especially here in the Capitol Hill, in the South End, et cetera. So yeah, does that answer your question? Awesome. Cool. Thank you so much.
Okay. And then I believe our final candidate for the evening that we're going to hear from, Dion Foster. Woo!
I don't think I've got a chant the whole campaign. That was great, or at least a Dion chant. Thank you. I'm really happy I could stop in, and thank you all so much. I'm just going to deeply appreciate the 43rd Dems for hosting so many canvases for my campaign. Like seeing so many people that like, I know you've knocked, I know you've knocked, I know you've knocked. So just you've knocked. Thank you so much to all of you. Okay. I'm Dion. If we haven't met yet, I'm running for Seattle City Council position 9. I just came from another great campaign event, and I think I'm supposed to talk about what you can do to help at this point. And it's actually a lot of what was just said by the person before me. So we are out, we're still door knocking. That's really, really helpful right now. I just saw earlier today somebody who volunteered and did her first door knocking, and she was like, I'm so glad I did it. I talked to a lot of undecided people. And so I say that to you because for many of us, where maybe we've been talking since April or May or whatever, and we're like, yeah, we're set, we're locked in, we know what we're doing. There are still undecided folks out there. There are still folks out there who are just now tuning in. And so this moment, these last 2 weeks is really, really critical. So for our campaign, it is the same thing. It's doors and dollars. In my race, my opponent doesn't do democracy vouchers. So we have a higher fundraising goal because of that. I know. So we're definitely still pushing to fundraise to make sure we can reach all the people who are just now tuning in. If your phone banking is more of your jam, we have a couple of phone banking shifts that are still going on. We just wrapped up on a little while ago. So that's another way that you can help out. And, you know, that's for some folks, if you don't want to knock doors or if that's not what you're comfortable doing, that is really, really helpful. So all of those things are going to be the best. And even if you're like, I've just got an hour or I've got 2 hours or whatever, we will find you something to do. There's still lots to do in these last couple of weeks as we sort of just ramp out and get into all GOTV, getting out the vote, making sure people are tuning in, and making sure people are getting their ballots in on time, especially this year is really important, especially, you know, government shutdown, et cetera. So we're going to be making sure we're just getting that message out and getting that message out. So mostly I want to say thank you, 43rd. I just really, really appreciate all that you've done. And we've got 2 weeks left and we're so excited to go win the thing. So thank you so much. Forgot one more thing. And then we have one last candidate debate. Actually, we've got one more debate left in my race. It is what's today? It's Thursday night. And it's hosted by the First Hill Council and the Downtown Council. So folks are invited to come out to that who haven't been to a debate yet. A lot of fun.
Thank you, Dion. And then one final reminder, we have a canvas for Dion this coming Sunday, and we have a canvas for Katie this Saturday and the following Saturday. So great opportunities. And then again, a final shout out we have these beautiful slate cards. If you're here, take them with you. And if you are online, email me at chair43rddemocrats.org, and we will coordinate getting you some of those slate cards so that you can hand them out. Maybe I need to do like a coffee somewhere. Like I'll figure it out. Some sort of like, I'm going to be here drinking. I don't drink coffee. I drink hot chocolate. I'll be drinking a hot chocolate and handing out slate cards to anyone who wants to swing by. But we'll figure something out to get you those things. Okay. That was the bulk of our ever endorsed candidates. So we're now going to transition to some announcements from all of our different chairs. And then from there, we're going to wrap it up so that the people in person have an opportunity, a good chunk of time to engage with each other, socialize, and eat those cookies in the back of the room so that I don't take them all home. I'm going to open up the floor to anyone either online or in person that is one of our chairs who has any announcements. David, do you want to do a PCO announcement? Okay. You have to go to the front.
Cool. So, everyone's been talking about how important it is for turnout to go and knock on doors, and they are correct. And so, yeah, if you're a PCO, definitely, I am sending out some emails with a link to the list request form. Definitely fill that out. If you're not a PCO, and you want to get door knocking in your neighborhood for our endorsed candidates, definitely do that if you're feeling like it. If you want to become a PCO, I'm still fielding requests for that if there's no PCO in your precinct. So yeah, am I missing anything? Yeah, awesome. Yes, canvas.
And as a reminder, PCO is our precinct committee officers. They are the touch point between our neighborhoods and the community. A precinct is a couple of blocks. And so if you're like, I don't know, I've never that sounds like a lot of work. It's a couple of blocks and we can customize the lists to the number of doors that you want to knock. We can make you a list for 30 doors. We can make you a list for 100 doors. You tell us how many doors you want and we will figure out a list for you to go and knock. Okay. Do we have anyone else in person? I know policy and advocacy. I think we've got a couple resolutions that are in the works, so expect a few resolutions to come in November. If you are ever interested in either writing a resolution on an issue yourself, or if you want to support other people in writing resolutions and helping make sure that we translate all those resolutions in action, you can always reach out to Jake, our policy and advocacy chair. We are in the process of reforming our policy and advocacy committee, which is a group of people that are there to support people in writing resolutions and rallying for political action around the resolutions that we pass. Trying to think. I want to check online. I know Amy was online. If anyone from any of our online board members have any announcements. While we're waiting for that, Elizabetta, our treasurer, wanted to pass along that all of our finances are updated and we are in a good position. Thank you everyone who voted last month for our update to our budget. That allowed us to do things like rent space while staying within the budget constraints because renting rooms was more expensive than we anticipated. So we are still within budget. We're not spending any more money than we anticipated this year. We're just spending it in some different places. It also allowed us to protect the money for all of those slate cards that we sent out and the slate cards that we printed because that also takes money. So thank you everyone for that. Everything on our budget is looking good for the year. And I think I announced this last month, but we have already exceeded what our expectations were for income for the year, which is a great position to be in. And it means maybe next year we need to set a slightly more ambitious goal and raise even a little bit more money so that we can continue to grow on these actions and make sure that we can support our candidates when it comes to get out the vote season. Do we have anyone online? Okay. If not, okay, then I will call this meeting of the 43rd to a close. Oh, wait. Oh, I'm sorry. Good of the order. Point of order. Good of the order. Yeah. Go.
Yeah, I'd just like to say that I've been a Democrat and voted for the party for the last 60 years. I'm 84 years old. And you have to ask yourself what the Democratic Party is doing wrong that an idiot like Donald Trump would win election not only once, but twice. You know? And if anybody wants to discuss that with me, I'd be happy to do it. The other thing is the status of the working class is considerably lower now than it was when I was young. 30% of workers were in a union. That's no longer the case at all. The United States was the big factory of the world. So you have to look at both the supply side and the distribution side. As it stands now, China is well on its way to being an economic giant that will dwarf this country. They have an industrial policy. There's more than one reason for this. The average Chinese is a bigger, stronger worker and learner than we are. And this has been well documented. But the other thing is they have an industrial policy, and that's what we have to have. Now, the Republicans are too stupid to consider this idea. The Democrats are still not getting it, and we need to bring that to the fore. Yeah. The other thing is the average working man is not as progressive in the social and cultural realm as the average Democratic activist. You can't just go on and on talking about people with penises and women's smarts as being a good thing and get votes. You're going to have to start talking about bread and butter issues. So I have a lot more to say.
Yeah, and thank you for reinforcing, like we said earlier, the importance of crafting our message to meet the people that we're trying to engage with. Yeah.
So I have one request for everybody in this room and also online, folks that are very involved, probably already know who you're going to vote for. Turn in your ballots tonight. Yes, don't wait. Or tomorrow if it's getting too late, but turn them in as soon as possible, because then your name comes off the list of people who haven't voted yet. And our friends like Katie Wilson and Dion Foster and Erica Evans, you come off the list. They don't have to spend their time and resources convincing people who already know who they're going to vote for to get out the vote. And as I've canvassed before for different candidates, sometimes I've seen folks that are on boards of LDs, work in politics, like our campaign managers, and their name is still on my walk list the weekend before ballots are due. And it's like, oh man, that's one less like undecided voter that I got to talk to because I had to knock on the door of someone who knew who they were going to vote for 2 months ago. So vote as soon as possible. It also makes the election night parties more fun because your progressive candidates are more likely to be in the lead on election night. So we don't have to do the thing where like, oh, we're in by 3 points, but don't worry, by Friday, that should be great. No, we want to have fun on Tuesday night. And the way we'll have the most fun on Tuesday night, if you all turn in your ballots early enough, so when the initial drop happens, your vote is already counted. So vote tonight.
So we've got one person online, and then I'm going to hand it over to Linda.
Yeah, hi, my name is Corey. I'm a shop steward at the Attorney General's office and PCO for Local 2549. And I think I'll be writing a resolution in support of the lobbying efforts for the upcoming legislative session. We're going to have a hard fight ahead of us, and we're going to need all the support we can get lobbying legislators. And we'll be pushing sorry, out of breath, I'm at the gym. Pushing a resolution and looking for people to talk to their coworkers, talk to their friends, get people to sign up for like town halls, things like that. And, we could use your support. Thanks.
Thank you, Corey. And then hand it over to Linda.
Hi, everyone. If you're in the room, you can see one of these flyers is on your seat. I hope you'll take it home, because it's not just Ukraine's fight, it's ours. And I think we know that by looking at history. But it's important that we support the people of Ukraine who are trying to keep their country. And I hope you all agree with that.
Thank you, Linda. Yeah. Excellent. I'm going to hand it back over to our online. Look at this hybrid format actually functioning. I love it. Okay.
Hello. My turn.
Yep.
My turn, I assume.
Yep.
Hey,
You
everybody.
can go ahead.
My name is Jeff. Can you all hear me okay?
Yep.
Amazing. Yeah, my name is Jeff. I'm an organizer with House Our Neighbors. And if we're talking about the state legislative session, I just wanted to jump on a sec. I'll also be bringing a resolution forward next month. House Our Neighbors, you all might remember us from running the 2 social housing initiatives that were both endorsed by the 43rd LD, along with all the other LDs in Seattle, basically, and passed overwhelmingly in February of this year and 2023. We are taking a bill to the state legislative session to support social housing, not just in Seattle, but throughout the state. And we would love the 43rd support. So I look forward to earning your support next meeting. And similarly to previous speaker, I am excited for folks to get plugged in, do some advocacy work this session. There's going to be a lot. It's a short session, so it goes super quick. So we're trying to get folks plugged in as early as possible. Yeah, appreciate y'all, and we'll see y'all next month.
Awesome. Thank you, Jeff. And also a shout out, Jeff is our mutual aid chair, and the mutual aid committee has been meeting monthly. It is a part of our budget. We have the money set aside to support mutual aid groups that are providing direct support to people in our LD. And so if you would like to be a part of those conversations and help to decide where that money gets distributed, you can reach out to our mutual aid chair. In our weekly email, I post when they're meeting, as well as our mutual aid chair's email, so you can reach out to him and get looped in on those meetings for anyone who's interested in engaging in that work. Okay. Okay. Last call for good of the order. Okay, so with that, I will call our meeting to a close. Thank you everyone for coming and participating. Again, get out there, knock those doors. And for everyone who's here in person, we have the room for another 55 minutes. So please feel free to stay around, engage with each other, and build community. We will see you all in November. In our November general meeting, we will have, as you heard, a few resolutions. We'll also be hearing from our elected representatives on a preview of the upcoming legislative session. So look forward to seeing you all there. Okay, bye.